Today I'm going to take a look at my throttle cable. I've been having a problem with the throttle cable sticking open, and so the throttle stays on and it won't return to zero. And so I'm going to take a look at that. I'm hoping I don't have to replace the cable. There's a couple things to look at before that, and if it's neither of those things, I'll end up replacing cable. And this is the throttle cable. And you can see I have a spring here, and there's a spring here, and both those springs make it return. And the problem I'm having is when I run the throttle cable, it sticks and does not return. And you can see if I force return it, it'll go, but otherwise it sticks. Force return it, it'll go, but otherwise it sticks. When I run the throttle, it sticks and does not return. And I can come back in here and return it by hand. When I do this, so there's three things that could be wrong. Could have been the springs, we checked that. The next thing could be right where this cable goes into the housing, if there was something messed up with that. Or it could be, it just could be the throttle handle. The throttle handle was pushed on too far this way, then it would do that. So first I'm going to loosen this, pull this back, and see if that works for me. And so you can see I pulled it back not quite 1/4 of an inch. Let's see what that does. Well, I don't know. Well, it returns back most of the way, but still not all the way. Let's start it up and see what happens here. Call that a win. One little adjustment, a couple of screws, 5 minutes at a time, and it's fixed. That beats having to buy a throttle cable. So that was worth it. The other thing we'll take a look at in this video is I want to show, I've had several people ask me, so what do you take in terms of tools when you go out on the trail? So I'm going to share that with you right now. Sometimes I'll have a spare tire or I leave it back in my trailer. I have kind of several different straps, different lengths, rope, pulley, clevises to hook these straps together with, and in my toolbox here I'll have a ratchet strap, and I'll go through all these things here. I have a little bit of heat in case my gas goes wonkers. I have some brake fluid, some WD-40, a low pressure air gauge, a valve stem remover, a little crowbar, screwdriver, various vice grips. You'll notice this vice grip here, I've ground that out, and that fits on the chain, so you can clamp chains together. I have some different sockets that fit different things. Let's see. I have a 16 millimeter, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and I should have a 5/8. This is 5/8 here. Some different wrenches, and the wrenches that I have are 13 millimeter, 12, and 14 millimeter. And I have two crescent wrenches, a little hacksaw, some pliers, 2 different files, a round file and a straight file, the different bolts, anything that you end up taking off and needing at some point in time, you should have a spare. And then I have a drain cap for the back of my Argo there. I have a pick. This tool right here, this is like a must. This is a little pick, and this works really good for taking the safety clips off of the chains that run the machine on the connecting links. I have a straight punch and then a chisel. This tool here is for, in case you needed it, it would help take off your drive belt. And so that all fits in that toolbox right there. I forgot to mention this earlier, but in the toolbox I carry underneath my seat, I also have a chain brake tool. And so this tool clamps on your chain like that, and then you can drive the pins out to hold the chain together. And so if you ever end up having to do any chain work, you break a chain or something, lots of times you have to take a link all the way out of your chain. And so you better have one of those, or you won't be able to fix your chain. Well, thanks for watching today. That was a super easy fix. I kind of anticipated maybe the worst, and it turned out to be probably the best. You always like it when that happens. Additionally, I showed you the tools that I normally take on the trail with me, and with that set of tools, I can fix just about anything that would go wrong with my Argo, short of, major failure of the engine or the transmission.